At the beginning of the 16th century, the 600-year-old struggle between Islam and Christianity ends with the expulsion of the Moors from Europe and the restoration of Christianity to all of Spain. It is at this critical moment that a brash and stubborn aristocrat, Francis Xavier, embarks on a journey which will ultimately take the gospel to unencountered lands.
The Xaviers have been professional soldiers for generations. First of all, Xavier's a Basque. Now, Basques have a certain reputation in Spain and beyond for being kind of stubborn, people of few words, but pretty damn resilient as well. And for generations, they've been professional fighters, so they're kind of resourceful mounted people. Secondly, this idea about conquering the world back for Christ in some ways, which we're going to find is going to be an important part of the way he believes. It's part of his cultural background. It's what it is to be a Spaniard at the beginning of the 16th century. Xavier's born in 1506, and he's born into this minor aristocratic family. His father was trained to be a lawyer and was actually quite an influential person, but he dies when Xavier's about 6, and Xavier is effectively brought up by his elder brothers. At a very early point in Xavier's life also, the Xaviers are kind of downgraded almost politically, and the Spanish forces come in and knock down half the Xavier's castle. And they do that so that the Xavier's can no longer be a political force. We don't know much about the young Xaviers, where we can assume that he did the same sort of things as a young Basque nobleman of that time would have done, trained, learned to ride a horse, learned some sword fighting, and certainly he had some education. There was certainly education in the family's background. He went to Paris as a young man at the age of 19 to go and study at the University of Paris. Xavier ends up being a roommate in Paris with a man called Peter Faber. Peter Faber was a peasant. He was a shepherd from the eastern part of France in Savoy. And Faber had met this strange man called Inigo, who came from the same area as Xavier. In fact, the Xaviers and the Loyolas had actually been sworn enemies in the past. They end up rooming together. Xavier can't stand this older guy. I mean, he's eccentric, he goes up begging in the streets, he's a Spanish nobleman, but he dresses appallingly because he gives all his money away. And yet there's something there. Something in Xavier is met. I think it's awoken. There's some part of him which awakens when he meets Ignatius.